Good morning, everybody. Welcome to October, literally October 1st. Hard to believe we're barreling down on December. Someone told me that there's only like 10 or 11 Saturdays left until Christmas, which and Melissa, get your shopping going, girl. It's kind of crazy. So here we are. Excited to be here this morning. Excited for our monthly chat and icebreaker. So today, um, here we go. You can have any prop from any movie or TV set. No consequences, no money involved. You just get it. What are you taking?
I already know my answer. It's
Let's go, Charisma.
Galinda's wand from Wicked. Because, like,
Oh.
why wouldn't I want that in my room? Thing is gorgeous.
You just want it in your room. You don't want to actually use it?
I'd be scared that someone would steal it.
Okay. You're gonna get like a glass, like locked case to keep it in. Okay, fair. I I'd kind of want the power that came with it too, though. I'm not gonna lie. Not just the. That's why I'm saying, like, I hear you. I wouldn't want it stolen from me, but I would want that power too. I want to be able to use it for things.
Okay.
Anybody? Yeah.
Oh, go Lauren, go Lauren. You put your hand up.
Sorry. Um, uh, okay, I have two different things. One is a movie and one is a show. For a
Fair.
show, I would want the Impala from Supernatural. For a movie though, if I could have anything from any movie, it would be the white dress that Drew Barrymore wears to go to the masquerade in Ever After, the Cinderella
Oh.
one with the wings.
Are you actually wearing it?
No.
Oh,
No, 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 no.
you're
I
on
just
you're
want
on
it on the I just want to
you're
look.
on Christmas page. You just want it because it's like pretty.
Oh, because
Whereas
I mean that's my favorite movie of all time and that's like my favorite scene of any movie ever.
I love that
So,
for you. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Nelly,
Okay, so it's not a favorite movie, but it's just a nostalgia thing. I
heard.
want the friggin' head of the dragon from Neverending Story because
What?
it'll just
What?
make me
It's
happy
not
and I'll just
it's
think the
not what
song.
it's that you're doing this. Like
Yeah,
you're
because I'm gonna be on him going Neverending Story. So yeah, it's just a nostalgia thing.
I love I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at what you said. It was the way you were
No, it's all good. It's the stupidest thing ever, but I was like,
No, it's
he would
not.
just make me happy. Or like, the dragon from, I guess I have a dragon problem. The Night Fury. He'd
Okay.
be cute too. You just make
It
me
would
happy to
be.
smile at it.
It would be. I just where are you putting this dragon? Like the one from Never Ending like that's I guess
Oh.
I mean my bad. That wasn't part of the question. You get it. It's yours. Wish granted.
Wait, so that's technically a character. So if we're able to steal
It's a
technically
prop.
what is a puppet character,
It was
It's a
Kermit.
part of the
prop.
prop
It's a
because
Well, I'm
prop.
saying then the answer would be Kermit the Frog. Sorry.
but nostalgia wise, it might be a tie because I had to think about it with like the DeLorean.
That's one of the ones that came to my mind. The other one that came to my mind is the Batmobile, as well as,
Which
you know,
one?
oh, any of them. I mean, they're all kind of cool. I mean, I'd share with other people. It's fine. But the other thing that came to my mind, do you remember in I don't know what it was called, but in Men in Black, the little stick they had that they were like, in 30 seconds, you'll never remember this. And then they like this thing comes out. And I was like, well, that would be cool too, because then like I could just go around redoing like my mess ups in life.
We get rid of all the trauma in the world.
Yeah. Like I feel like that would be the magic wand for social workers.
For me, I would say Doctor Strange's mind, if I can take that. And for a prop, I would take the spinning chair from Crooklyn that the mom used to do her hair in the movie Crooklyn.
Mel's gonna sit on meetings. It's just love that.
I think for myself, I think I would want the car from Back to the Future.
Oh, the DeLorean. Yeah. Good for you, Michelle. Are you actually gonna drive it or is it just gonna sit in your driveway?
I don't know. Maybe drive it.
What about you, Talia?
I'm still thinking. That's a hard one. I think maybe the bike from Stranger Things, Mike's bike. Like, I just like how vintage looking it looked.
It is very vintage.
Yeah, it's okay. I like that one.
That's yeah. So, Stan, are you gonna ride it or is it just gonna sit in a glass case in your
I'll
room
ride it. I'll ride it.
with Charisma's wand over there?
I'll ride it and I'll just keep it there.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. That was fun. I just figured it would be nice to have something very different. I'm curious to hear when you go into the homes what the what our families would take. If the parents, if older, like our generation, would do something different than the younger generation. So I'm excited to hear back from our families on this icebreaker. And we know that our families have gone through lots of tough times, right? As they're adding in or bringing in new youth or having youth leave their home, this change in dynamic is always a transition for our families. And so relationships shift, dynamics shift, and we've been there through so much with our families. And so I wanted to take this month to talk about how some things that families can, some pointers for the families. Sorry, that was a very poorly constructed sentence. We know that in this world, people have their own perceptions of foster care, and we hear it as workers in this field, and we know that our licensed foster families, our incoming foster families, and even people who have retired as foster parents hear what those perceptions are, those opinions about whether you should be doing it, whether you shouldn't be doing it, opinions on who are the children we serve. And that's a lot to hear and take in when you're doing the work and the parenting. In our families and us as workers, we have to balance that confidentiality of the youth as well as giving folks enough information to help support the youth. And that involves extended family, right? That involves the neighbor, that involves the aunts and the uncles, that involves the bio children or the other adopted children in the home, the other foster youth in the home. And it's a really delicate situation. And so I wanted to kind of talk about how do we do all of this? So I'm wondering for you as workers, what are some of the things that you hear either from your colleagues out that are in the field but not in the foster care realm, or your family about foster care? What are sort of some of those myths? Or truths, let's be honest. Some of them could be true, sorry.
I think I always hear the one that triggers me is that they're just all damaged. And why would we want them in our home? Because they're just going to disrupt everything. And it triggers me every time I hear it.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Why would you want to take other people's problems?
Yeah. Anything else you guys can think of? I think for me, one of the biggest ones is I hear that people are like, oh, that's such hard work. Why do you do it? And for me, it's like any job is hard, right? There's hard parts of any job. And so what about all the the fun things about the work? What about all the successes? What about all the people we meet? And all of that. And so for me, that comment is, yes, it is hard, but so are other people's jobs.
And just the whole idea around it, it's always the negative cloud. Like once you say foster care, people automatically think all the negative thoughts and all the stigma or things they've seen on TV. And they never highlight, like what you were saying, the rewards that come with it, the beauty around it too. And especially when we all have so much, when we're blessed and we're fortunate enough to have something to give to another, why wouldn't we?
I love that, Nellie. That whole point of being able to give, and for me, it's being able to be a part of those successes, right? And hearing about it. And so maybe I'm not directly there when the youth has the first birthday party or they score their first touchdown in football, but hearing about it and seeing the smiles is, for me, I get more back than I give. Right? So what advice would you give someone starting out in this journey of foster care, or questioning whether they should do it, knowing that there's all these myths? How would you sort of debunk some of these black clouds? How would you make the sun rays come through the black cloud?
If you're religious, I'll make it, I'll say to them that you're helping God do his work. You know what I mean? You're protecting children, you're bringing them back to some sense of normalcy, you're making their lives better. And if sorry, obviously, but if it's outside of that, then I'll just say to them that, just use this opportunity to change someone's life. You know what I mean? Like, see this as an opportunity to make a change.
Yeah, and to like open them up to the idea of like if you're not ready for fostering someone into your home, maybe you dip your toe in the water by doing some, whether it's volunteer work or mentoring work or something of that nature so you can get yourself comfortable enough. Because I think it's one of those stigmas where people think they're going to get children that are so misbehaved or so wild and inappropriate, and it's like that's not the case. So it wouldn't be any different than my child when they act up in the home. So it's like, how about you dip your toe in the water a little and try to break down some of those walls so it doesn't feel so far-fetched.
Nellie will lend her kids out for a week. Um, so as these people are getting started, how would we say that they should talk to their extended family, their neighbors, other people in their lives about choosing to become a foster parent? What are um some things that, even if it's not directly what they should say, what are some of the topics they should talk about?
I would just say that they should just go and tell them exactly why they wanted to do it. Like, what was their reasoning? Like, just be honest about it. And that's a good, like, icebreaker to start. Like, just start it. Start the conversation.
The transparency. Yeah, I like that. Anything else? What about if that child is coming into my home and my kid calls my best friend aunt? What are the expectations for that foster child? Are they going to call my best friend aunt, or are they going to call them Miss Michelle? And what is the role that my best friend is going to play? Are they going to be the emergency contact at the school pickup? So for me, it's kind of deciding what role everybody else is going to play too, because it may not be the same as the current functioning. And so for me, it's having some of those conversations. and maybe tempering some expectations that this youth is going to need some time to warm up to. I don't know about you, but my family can be a little loud. And so
Oh,
we
yeah.
got,
And, oh, sorry, Mindy.
no, go.
You just reminded me of like how some family members are kind of like, they kind of think before they speak. I mean, I said that backwards. They speak before they think.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's having, maybe even just having a conversation with the youth, kind of describing who particular individuals are kind of like, maybe like around the family often. So that way you kind of prepare that youth, what are some of the, what are some of the quirks? Also to, get the youth idea as far as like letting them know it's okay that if they just wanna call that individual, by their name. And with time, they may see that it'll change, especially when other kids in the home are calling that particular person auntie or uncle or pop and so the kids start to naturally kind of like pick it up themselves as well. So it's just.
Yeah. I like that, giving the child some input and seeing where they're at, because they do have opinions or feelings, right?
Mhm.
That's great. Michelle, I'm actually going to put you on the spot because you've done a lot of this. And so let's talk a little bit when you're bringing a foster youth in, but you have your own children. What are some things to do? And I'll open it up to everybody, but again, I'm asking Michelle to chime in particularly. When you have your own biological children, what are some things to prepare the biological child for the addition of a foster child?
Some of the conversations, I've had is, just keeping it more in general, not giving a lot of specifics, especially at the beginning, is being able to provide a safe place for that child coming into the home. Keeping it simple as to, they're not able to live with their, again, depending on the age of the children, they're not able to live with their mommy and daddy right now, but they're going to be coming here and we're going to, share our space, share our food. We're going to do activities together. And usually that opens up some questions for the kids, but also reassuring them that if they're concerned about something or if they're worried about something, like we can make that time to talk one-to-one, away from others, just giving them that one-to-one attention.
Thank you, Michelle. And I'm curious from the FFT folks, how when the foster youth is in the home, and as Michelle's talking about that feeling like they're not included, or there's a issue with attention or sibling rivalry is arising, you know, some input from the FFT folks on how that can be addressed.
That does happen a lot with bio children and foster children. Hopefully before foster kids come in, I can only hope that people raise their kids to have some sense of empathy and understanding, because that already goes a long way. So if you already kind of raise your kids in that way, it makes it a little bit easier to have the conversation of, like Michelle said, this kid doesn't have a home. We're going to provide the home for this kid. We want to create a sense of normalcy for them, whatever that might look like. We're going to be nice, just teaching kids manners, how to be respectful, and kind of going over what some of the challenges may look like. This might be an issue that this child has, and this might come from this. Try not to take that personal, just having conversations like along that way, because obviously this is a new person coming into the home. So starting to have that conversation with the kids. But like I said, hopefully if you kind of already raise your kids with the compassion and respect, it's kind of easier to wean them around being accepted being more accepting of new people coming into the home, because that makes, honestly makes a difference. If you kind of have like, you know, you have like, my daughter was an only child for a very long time. So even me having a new baby, what took a long conversation to kind of swing her around the idea that someone else is going to be invading your space. So, it sounds crazy, but it's really the truth. And it's normal for kids to act out.
It's that change in dynamics, right? Nelly, I'm gonna put you on the spot, sorry. But you've kind of been on both sides of this now, right? Have in your previous work before you came here. And I'm just wondering if you have any sort of overall advice, whether it's on that. I'm hearing from everybody that communication is key. And so I'm just wondering if you have some overall guidance in that communication.
No, I think the communication is key in repetition because it's going to be an ongoing conversation. The same way we circle back with FFT about the noble intent and why an adult chose to enter this work. It's always having that conversation also with the kids around why did, because anybody who has children is going to make the family decision together in consideration of their biological children, and they're in the home saying, hey, we're going to take this next step to fostering. And when the dynamics start to shift and the whole home starts to shift, it's really reminding everyone, like, remember, we made this decision as a family together, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to approach it. And having, like, it's not a one-stop shop conversation. It's remembering that the conversations are ongoing and repetition is going to be necessary.
I love that, Nelly, that this is not a one-time conversation, and that just, you know, almost like forming a habit, right? You're gonna have to do it more than once, and it's gonna take some time and some ongoing review. And I love that. Thank you for pointing that out. I think that's a super valuable thing to remember, is over and over and over. The one last thing anybody else on this topic, I'm sorry. I kind of just shifted without giving pause. Okay. The one last thing I want to talk about is, how do we prepare that foster youth? Michelle, you talked about giving the youth some input on what they're going to call folks, what is kind of their role, their comfort level. But we talked about, I think we said there's like 10 or 11 Saturdays left. We know the holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving before that. Maybe your family does like a big Halloween party or something of that nature. How do we prepare these youth for the first time, or even that second, third time that they are going to a huge family gathering and meeting all of these people? What are some tips for that? Because we said, you know, every family is different. Just because they've been potentially to a family gathering in another foster home, or even with their own biological family, it's different. My family is going to be very different than Mel's, which is very different than Nellie's and Lauren's. So Mel, please chime in.
Because my family is very outspoken, like Michelle said, some families talk before they think. It's more of me preparing my family for the child and not the child prepared for my family, right? Because you always have that one relative that just says the wrong thing. So you kind of really have to prepare the family for the kids, because adults act younger than children sometimes. And so, you know, it's just strange as it sounds, it's the truth, right? So
No, it's not strange, it's true.
right, you have to check them. Like, I understand you're 45, but we need you to act like maybe, you know, just, you know, we need you to get out of your 6-year-old self for a second and kind of understand that this is my life and this is what I'm choosing to do. And I need you to respect these little people that I'm bringing into my life. So I would more so put that around, the conversation needs to be with the family first, because sometimes adults act worse than children. And then obviously definitely preparing the children for my family in terms of just asking them, what are some of the things they like to do? What do you like to eat? How was your family prior to? What are some of the things that you wish you had during the holidays? You know, try to somewhat enmesh whatever their likes are into the things that we're doing as a family. So yes, I would do both. But like I said, the number one thing would be preparing my family, my ghetto family, for people, for other people, because sometimes that's just what it is. I mean, you got to call it what it is.
But you're not wrong, Mel. And I think, to your point, adults have adult conversation. negating that little ears are everywhere. And so adult conversation needs to happen away from this family gathering.
Right. And kids can't unhear what they hear. So like if somebody goes, oh, who are these strange kids? Or I never saw them before. You know what I mean?
Or-
Like
right.
that can be very disheartening to someone in foster care. So I definitely feel like you
Yeah.
have to have the conversation with grown people so they can act grown.
Yeah. Lauren and Talia.
I was thinking that talking to the like, yeah, it is. I agree with Mel as well that it's really important to talk first to the family and let them know like this youth is at my home, like letting them know all these things beforehand, and then also preparing the youth that they may ask them personal questions. And if those questions are if it's uncomfortable for them, we're there to support them. They don't have to share those things. And that if they ever need our support, that they could come to us so that they could feel safe and feel like that they know that they could come to us if they are asking questions that they don't feel comfortable with, and knowing that they don't have to share everything.
I love that. And maybe even arming them with like a sentence and what to say if they are uncomfortable. I love that.
I also think a big part of it is even before a family gathering is having an understanding of what holidays mean for the youth, whether it's something that they do look forward to still or something that they really have bad memories of, or something that they don't want to celebrate. Because I've known children who have said, "Oh, I don't like any holidays. I don't like that." Because of whatever their past is,
That's a
their
great
past
point.
experiences. And that's also, and so if they are a child who does not like holidays, or it can be even a trigger for them emotionally, um, making sure that your family is also, if you still choose to, go to a gathering, making sure that your family um is aware that the child might need space during that, to not overwhelm them, to um give them time to just kind of do their thing. And I think letting the youth know that they can take breaks from the party or festivities if they need to or if they want to, giving them their own things to do and not pressuring them to be so involved in things. And I can tell you, just me with my own family, I just have a lot of anxiety in a very short social battery. I will take my own breaks in a room by myself and go sit and just because I need breaks. And so I think that making sure that they feel safe to do that if things are kind of getting to be too much, that's okay as well.
That's a great point, Lauren. And it doesn't even have to be, a holiday. It could just be a get together. It could be a barbecue on a weekend. And that's everybody's comfort level too. Maybe it isn't a trigger for the holiday. It's just your social battery. Everybody's different. My husband's family is extremely loud. And there are moments where I'm like, I need some quiet. And so him and I actually have a code word, and when I say it, he knows I'm going for a walk or whatever. So I think that's a great point and something to establish.
I have specific memories of me and all of my siblings, because when we would go to Long Island to see my dad's family, it's a whole thing. Um, and the four of us, and then my mom even coming outside to the front, we'd all be sitting on the rock wall out in the front because we're all just like, I need a break. I can't be in there. Because
Yeah.
it's so different from us, and we're our own kind of dynamic too. But all of us are so like, this is a lot, and I can't be in there for the whole time. And that's
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. And I would say if you're going to somebody else's house that this youth has never been to, figure out where that space is for that youth. Figure out where the safe space is. Because otherwise they may find themselves locked in a bathroom for an hour, just to get away. All right. Any last winding thoughts on this topic of the myths of foster care? How do we debunk them? How do we prepare ourselves, our foster youth, and those that surround us?
I just wanted to say that when it comes to the myths of foster care, I feel like the best way to combat it is to just take the risk. Just try to put your fears to the side and just, take it on as best as you can and look for the supports in the community where you can as well, whether that's your best friend or a random Facebook group that they all kind of do foster care or, working for a company like FC Aid that, they have these foster care groups and stuff like that. So just really take that risk and try to combat combat it, just don't be afraid. It's not scary.
Well, and Charisma, I appreciate that. And I think you make a great point is that today's day and age, there's so many resources out there to help you learn more to gain the knowledge about those myths. Nellie.
I was just gonna say, like, everything that everyone was talking about before, it highlights it. We're putting the child first. It's thinking about the child. Disregard the myths, disregard the fears, all the things. It's when we're talking about even going into a big party, it was about the child. What does the child need? Because the adults are adults. They can manage. They're doing their thing, but the child needs the support. They need the people. They need the guidance. And even like when Talia was talking about letting them know and empowering them, like, you don't need to share everything. You don't need to go and hug that person if you don't want to, allowing them to have those boundaries and teaching them what boundaries are as well, to just help make sure that we're putting them first and their needs.
Yeah, and I think everything we've talked about today really does highlight that there are resources. It's okay to ask the questions. There really is no stupid question. So come forward, ask the questions. We'll be here for you. And we look forward to continuing to work with you. Happy Halloween, because we won't see you before then. And enjoy your October.